Hey everybody, Jeff here from carbuyingtipscom and welcome back to the channel. Since 1999, our team of consumer advocates has been both protecting and educating you, the American car buying public, in all areas of buying cars, new cars, used cars, leasing, financing, and avoiding scams. Well, today we've got a great video for you here. For those of you who are interested in selling your car yourself. So if you're trying to sell your own used car yourself instead of trading it in at the dealer, then we've got all the best top 10 tips here for you. Okay, now, selling or trading in your used car can be a really daunting task for a lot of us. There's so much involved, and then trading it in at the dealer, you're going to be spending hours and hours there negotiating with them and negotiating and not knowing how bad they're going to rip you off and all of that. But let me just say that on average, from what we've seen over 20 years of doing this, is that most dealers will give you about $3,000 to $6,000 below current market value for your used car. They have to take that car, turn around, condition it a little bit, and resell it and make a profit. So they typically will try to make about $3,000 profit on a used car. So that's why you're going to be lowballed like that. So I just want you to make sure you know about that. But we are here to guide you through this. So here now is our top 10 tips for selling your used car. Tip number 1, determining the correct selling price for your used car. This is probably the toughest part that most people blow it and drop the ball. But we've developed a pretty good scientific approach to determining what is the correct selling price for my car. We've been doing this for years and years and years, and here's the approach that we have. A lot of people like to go into the car dealerships either with like Kelley Blue Book values or with NADA book values. But see, the problem with that is that no matter what book you go in there with, the dealers will say, oh, we don't use that, we use this. So they immediately discredit your data here. But what they can't do is they cannot discredit recent sales on eBay in the last couple of weeks, especially because many of those sales on eBay for used cars are from other car dealers, because car dealers are the biggest number of sellers on eBay for used cars. Okay, so selling your used car here in 2020 starts right here on eBay with trying to figure out how much your car is worth. So here, for example, we're going to assume that we have a 2017 Toyota Camry that we are trying to sell. So we'll come right down here and we'll pick Toyota and then Camry, and we're going to choose used and then find a vehicle, and it will come back with all of these vehicles here. And a lot of times you can easily identify which are the car dealer ones here because they look very professional with their photos here. So now what we want to do is we want to concentrate only on the ones that are sold. So a lot of people don't realize that you can go in and find out how many were sold here. And you do that by scrolling down here until you get to the show only area here of the window. And when you see that, you can click on completed items and sold items. So when it comes back up here, let's see if it tells us how many. It narrowed it down to 759 results. And I want to do sold items because that will tell me exactly the ones that actually sold. And so you can see these green numbers here are indicating the final selling price here for you. So this is really what you need to know here. And then from here, so it's showing 172 results here now on these. So from here, you just go through here and you find one that's close to yours. And I'm actually going to assume here, actually we can do it here. We can check off 2017. So there's 6 of them that sold in the last few weeks. So if you look here, you can see, I mean, the prices are kind of all over the map here, but they are mostly in the teens, the low to mid teens, as the final selling price of these here. And so what you want to do here is find one that has the mileage closest to yours here, right? So you just click on it like this. And this is what you want to do. You want to print this page out right here. That way, if somebody tells you, oh, your car's not worth it, you can say, yes, it is, because here's what somebody bought for on eBay just recently here. So this one here ended on April 22nd. Here we are in mid-May right now. All right, so what we do here is try to find more of the cars here that are pretty much around the same specs and model number and trim level and all of that as yours, and the mileage and everything. And that's what you used to put an end to any of the lowballers that are going to come. Now, you're going to get a lot of lowballers that come to look at your car. Now, you are going to get a lot of lowballers that come to look at your used car that you are trying to sell. And so having this type of printout that you can put right in their face and show it to them, that's mightier than the sword. So you can see how the written word is very powerful here. This is mightier than the sword, because the car dealer will give you something like this when you go to buy a used car that has the value already written on there. But that's all bogus material here. What you go in with is something like this. This is what you will show the buyer of your used car here too. Something like this that shows all of the research on what the completed listings are on eBay, and they'll either buy it or they won't. But if they're trying to lowball you, you can use this against them to put that tactic down. Tip number 2 for selling your used car yourself, and that is don't trade in your car at the car dealer. Now, a lot of people think, oh, that's what you do. You go to buy a new car, you trade in your old car. But they don't realize, they don't stop to think, people think, that trading in your used car, you're going to lose the most amount of money possible. So most car dealers, on average, from what we have seen over the years, they will give you between $3,000 and $6,000 below the market value for your car, as we've mentioned before. But here's where it gets worse, folks. Remember, things always get worse right before they get much worse. So if your car is over, say, 4 or 5 years old, that becomes harder for the car dealer to resell, because it's very difficult to get financing on cars that old. And then, of course, the interest rates are higher too, so it's harder for people to qualify. So all around, it's a harder push for them. So if your car is that old, the dealers are going to give you 1/4 of the market value. And let me just stop and let that sink in again, folks. 1/4 of the market value. We've seen it firsthand before, because in years past we've traded in a car or two, and that's what happens. That's what they do, because they'll come back and they'll say, look, the car's basically worthless to us, even though I know you think it's a whatever number of thousands of dollars. They go, it's worthless to us. So if you want us to take us, this is all we can do, because they'll cry on your shoulder and they'll say, we have to take it to the auction and dump it off there because we're not going to be able to sell it. So that's the problem there. So simply by selling it yourself online, like eBay, Craigslist, cars.com, Cars Direct, all of these other, online sites here, you're going to get probably $3,000 more minimum than you would get by trading it in at the dealer. Okay, step number 3. Make sure that you know some pretty decent negotiating tips here for selling your used car here to combat lowballers. Now, you're going to get a lot of tire kickers and lowballers that come, and especially, when you're dealing online, and, virtually every item we ever list on Craigslist, we always get contacted by some lowballer who shoots for the 50% mark. Whatever you're asking, they want to offer 50%. Those type of people, I don't even dignify them with a response. Just let them sit there wondering, maybe they'll move on to another one. But once they come and haggle the price of your car here, use the things like we showed you before in step number 1 here. This type of stuff here that sets the value. Don't let them set the value. Let this set the value. And they'll use other tactics. They'll look all over your car and find every teeny tiny scratch and dent and this dimple, and this car's in horrible shape compared to the cars I've been looking at. They'll try all sorts of tricks on you. And you can say, hey, no matter what, this is a normal wear and tear on this car. This car is worth this amount of money, even with the wear and tear that's on it. It's par for the course. Otherwise, it would be a new car and we would be charging thousands of dollars more. Another excuse they'll tell you is, oh, I don't have much money. I've only got a little bit of money. And then you just shut them right back down. Look, the value of my car, it's still worth what it's worth, no matter how much money you have in your pocket. And just because you can't afford it, it doesn't make my car worth any less money. So these are the things you need to do to shut them down. Those are the common things you're going to get. So we're making you smarter than the car salesman here today, because the car salesmen, they do this day in and day out, all day long. They know how to negotiate with tough people. And now, so do you. Okay, now back on our carbuyingtips.com website, we have a fully detailed article there, which is what this video is based on, with a lot more details for you on selling your used car. So I'll put a link for that for you down in the video description below. So make sure you check that out after you see this video too. Okay, selling your used car. Tip number 4 is to eliminate any fears that the buyers have against buying your car. So what are the 2 most common fears that the buyers have here? Well, first of all, they're worried that your car was in a wreck. You need to let them rest assured that it wasn't, if your car is indeed with a clean title and no accidents. And then the other thing they're worried about is there's something major wrong with it, that I'm going to buy the car and a week later it's going to die. So those are the 2 things you need to head off. You head off the first one here by doing this. You can provide them with this vehicle history report here. And this tells them everything about the car, if it's ever been in an accident. It's got all the mileage updates on here and everything like that. And we have other videos on that you can check out as well on vehicle history reports. This will put their mind at rest if indeed there were no accidents on the car. And if there was an accident and maybe it was minor, it'll show up in here and it will say minor accident, or it will say airbag not deployed. And I've bought 2 previously wrecked cars that did not have airbag deployed, which is perfect because that's what you want. It means it's a minor accident. The other thing that you can do is you can bring your used car with the buyer down to a repair shop and have them put it up on a lift and do their normal checkout on the car to put the buyer's mind at ease. But don't pay for that service. Let the buyer, that's their responsibility. And if they ask you to pay for it, just say no, because you could pay for it and then they turn around and walk away and not buy the car. So let it be on their responsibility. And not only that, if they pay for it, chances are they're more likely to buy the car from you because now they've already invested in it. Okay, selling your used car. Tip number 5 here. Market your used car the same way that car dealers do. Now, these people are geniuses. They know how to sell cars, okay? So why not sell it the exact same way they do? How do they do it? They blitz all of the different online sites here. So you put it on eBay, you put it on Craigslist, you go to sites like, cars.com, Cars Direct, TrueCar, whatever the major sites are. And a lot of times I'll see the same car from a car dealer listed on all of these sites here, because not everybody goes to eBay, not everybody goes to Craigslist, and by putting it in all of these different sites, you're capturing each little segment of the market and getting maximum exposure for your used car. Selling your used car. Tip number 6, be aware of the online fraud. Now, believe it or not, there are ways to rip people off that are selling a car online. And some of the common ways, especially on Craigslist, for example, the minute you list a car online, they'll start emailing you within minutes and they'll say, do you have a Carfax report or something like that, or an Experian auto check report? And you'll respond back to them and they'll say, here, please click on this link and go run this VIN report. That way I'll know you're serious and that I can be confident in buying your car. The only problem with that is it's just this no-name little site that they're sending you to, and they're just getting money off of the VIN report here. They're not a real buyer for your car.
And tonight she is tracking the latest online scam with the help of carbuyingtipscom. And this one involves bogus vehicle identification reports. Here is Christina's report.
So he says, hi, is your 1997 Jaguar XJ6, 4-door green luxury sedan for sale still?
That text message is a response to Ostrov's post about a used car for sale. Sounds innocent, right?
Nobody talks like that. They would say, hi, is your Jaguar still available?
But look what happens next. The buyer requests a vehicle history report and sends Ostrov a link that turns out to be an unsecured website. Enter in credit card information and...
They're just emailing it to themselves, so now they have your credit card number. It's a complete, total paradigm shift. You think you're selling a car, and you're ending up walking into the vortex of a phishing scam.
Ostrov also cautions of frauds using Craigslist to gain your confidence.
There it is, the warning's there, and they always ignore it. Anytime you hear the words Western Union, cashier's check, shipping company, when you hear those kinds of things, you need to run as fast as you can, because Craigslist is local use only. So, don't fall for that. The other trick is as soon as somebody tells you, please remove your advert, that's how they'll, or take the listing down or something, because I'm going to buy it. That's a fraud too. So don't do that, because they're trying to just get you to get that thing off of line. So now that they're focusing with you back and forth, and what they're going to do is they're going to most likely send you a check that's $3,000 or $4,000 more than your asking price. And when you get it, they're going to insist you put it in the bank. You put it in the bank, the check will clear, okay? And then what happens is they tell you to Western Union cash back to them the overage that they sent you. And then, of course, a couple of days later, the check will bounce. So you'll be in big, big trouble. And in the past, people have even gotten arrested because their banks file against them criminal charges, even though they were just innocent victims. Okay, so be aware of all of these frauds here. And we also have a really good, thorough article on carbuyingtips.com about these frauds, all of these online frauds that you're going to see. So we'll put a link to that down on the description, and you make sure you do not miss that one. So don't think that you're just going to come in here and watch our video for a few minutes and think that you're ready, because you have a lot of homework ahead of you. Over the next few days, you should really be spending a few days studying all of this stuff here so that you'll be ready for anything that comes your way. Okay, selling your used car. Tip number 7. Make sure you use our used car bill of sale form that we have over on our website, carbuyingtips.com. We'll put a link to it down below. It gives you a nice professional write-up of the sale to complete the paperwork between you and your buyer. And it has already been successfully used hundreds of times, thousands of times all over the country, and we've used it for many cars ourselves at the DMV. So it is definitely acceptable by the DMV. Okay, and we'll put a link down on the video description below for you to go to our website to get it. Okay, selling your used car. Tip number 8. Fixing up your used car. So this is kind of a controversial point because a lot of people can't decide, should I spend money and fix up my car, fix all of the things that are wrong? The AC's not working. Should I dump $2,000 into fixing that? The transmission's bad. Should I dump $3,000 into fixing that? And I always tell people, no, my preference is no. Don't spend a cent on it, because no matter what you do, no matter how much you spend on it, if my preference is to save all of that money and spend it on your new car, not on the old car. Spend it on your new car, and that's the best way to do it. Now, you should certainly wash and wax your car, give it a little wax on, wax off, clean it off, vacuum and clean the carpets, make the car as clean as you can possibly make it inside and outside, and that's really all you need to do. Now, if there's something major that maybe you can fix really cheap, yeah, sure, go ahead. But for the most part, I wouldn't spend the money on it. Selling your used car. Tip number 9. Make sure you have a good set of maintenance records for your car. This isn't just rhetorical talk, people. We have 3 cars, and we have a notebook like this for every one of our cars. And every single oil change that we do is in here. All of our papers from when we bought it, the window stickers in here, the title, all of our oil changes are in here. Every repair we've ever made is in here. The receipts for the batteries, you should keep them in there because you need them to get the warranty. But this way here, this shuts down any argument that the buyer has that you didn't maintain the car. Well, how do I know you did your oil changes on time? Which one? Which one were you talking about? I got it right here. This is why you should always have a good professional looking, see, like this nice notebook all ready to go with all of your maintenance records. Okay, selling your used car. Tip number 10 here. Don't be afraid to let buyers walk, especially if they're lowballing you. Some people may get intimidated and think, oh, this is it. I'm not going to sell the car if I don't give it to this guy for this price. No. Let that first, second, or third guy be your practice, So what you do is you gather all of this intelligence here on listen to every word these buyers are saying and find out why they're not buying the car and use that to better your chances on the next buyer. Your car might not sell today or tomorrow or even next week. It might take a few weeks. It can take a month, but somebody will buy it. So I am a firm believer, folks, that when you know the value of an item that you have for sale, there's no reason for it to sell any less than that. So let them walk. If you like what you've seen so far and you've learned a lot from this video, hey, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Just click on that thumbs up button down below that tells us that you like us. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the carbuyingtips.com channel yet, hey, why not? Go ahead and click that subscribe button down below there and click that little gray bell icon next to it. And when you do that, make sure that you choose to receive all notifications from this channel. That way, when we upload a video, you'll be notified. Well, that's it for this week, folks. Thank you so much for checking in with us, and we'll see you on the next one.